but it's not just why choose. They're different, but also the same, without too much Sturm and or Drang. Hi, I'm Sock Marionette, doing business as Bargain Counter Argument, and I'm a middle-aged lady in a tiara talking about books. And this is Bargain Counter Argument After Hours. This is where things can get a little dark, a little kinky, a little spicy. That's why we call it After Hours. After Hours, where the language is always tasteful, even when the books are not. So let's kick off our shoes and get on with it. Okay, that's enough of that. It really is After Hours. I am talking about the Jacksonville Rays series by Emily Rath. And we are talking pucking around, pucking wild, pucking sweet, and pucking strong. These are all centered around the game of hockey with a fictitious team of the Jacksonville, Florida Rays that are part of the NHL because they actually do play teams like the Blackhawks and the Panthers and so on. So they're playing real NHL teams, but the team itself is fictitious. It's spicy and there's a lot of polyamory. So if that's not your kind of deal, then, you can enjoy this video anyway, but don't try to read the books. Now, these are library copies. I love my local library. And these books are also available on Kindle Unlimited, at least at time of recording, which is in late 2025. There are 4 books in the series so far, with a 5th scheduled to come out sometime in 2026. I don't think there's an exact publication date yet. It is listed on Goodreads as Pucking Free. I did read these in order. Let's see if I can find the first one again. It's just, okay. Pucking Around, again, is the first one, and it takes place a few weeks before the season opener for the first season that the Jacksonville Rays is a team. They're an expansion team, so this is their first season. And this is about Rachel Price. She's a doctor who specializes in orthopedics and particularly in sports medicine. She is the daughter of a rock star. So we find that out fairly quickly. And she also has some stuff in her past that we find out as the story unfolds. And it informs some of the decisions she makes and some of the attitudes we have. We also meet Jake Compton, who is a player for the Rays. Caleb Sanford. He is best friends with Jake Compton. In fact, the other players on the team call them domestic life partners in a platonic sense. Now, Caleb doesn't play for the team. He is their equipment manager. He had previously played professional hockey starting at the same time and on the same team as Jake. However, within the first 3 minutes of play, Caleb suffered a career-ending injury, and that spiraled him into a depression. He's better now. They have this friendship. They meet Rachel. She's attracted to both of them. And then there's a 4th person who comes along, Ilmari, who is a Finnish goalie. And the relationship develops in various ways. I will say that it's endgame Rachel and the 3 guys, but it's not just why choose. It's not reverse harem. The guys have their own relationships with one another in varying ways that I don't want to get into because it's a spoiler, and it is a lot of fun to see them all exploring their different relationships to each other as a group. It's a fun book. I really liked it a lot. Oh, and I will say this about Emily Rath, just in general, about her sex scenes. I think they're well written, and you can skip it, of course. I don't think you'll miss too much. However, I will say that I think why I like the way she writes sex is that there's something about the action that advances character. You understand the characters better by the way they relate to each other physically. And also, as the story develops, so do the physical relationships between and among the various characters. So it's not just repetitive sex scene after repetitive sex scene. There's actually some forward momentum. There's some forward emotional momentum as well as physical momentum. And that holds true across all of these books. At least all of the Jacksonville Rays books. She's written other stuff, but I haven't read it yet. So I really liked this one, and I wasn't going to necessarily read the other books in this series, or I was maybe going to skip some because they had stuff I didn't necessarily think I would enjoy reading, but I went ahead and read it. Pucking Wild is monogamous. It's a man and a woman. She's bisexual, and I'm not sure about him. I think he's in touch with his queer side. And she's older. She's about 10 years older, and she is the best friend of Rachel from this book. She's a lawyer, and she's leaving a bad relationship, bad marriage, actually. And so her ex-husband, soon-to-be ex-husband, is kind of behaving very badly toward her and has. So that might be something to watch out for. I enjoyed this one. And then Pucking Sweet. This is a woman who is the team's public relations manager and two of the players. I like this one as well. This has an unexpected pregnancy trope, which I don't normally like, but sometimes I'm okay with it if it's well done, and I think it was pretty well done here. For me, this was kind of the weakest of the 4 books because I just felt like coming on the heels of Pucking Wild, there's a similar situation with Poppy, who's the female main character, and her ex-boyfriend and her family and toxic relationships. They're different, but also the same between the 2 books. So yeah. And then finally Pucking Strong, which is a monogamous male-male relationship. It's a fake marriage. The relationship in this book is between Teddy, who's a DPT, I think that means Doctor of Physical Therapy for the team, and Henrik, who is a player for the team. And at the beginning of the book, Henrik's sister and 6-year-old niece are in a car accident, and the sister does not make it. The niece does, but she's severely injured, and she doesn't really have anybody else who can take custody of her, except for her uncle, to whom she is close. But the Swedish government is a little reluctant to let a 6-year-old Swedish girl away from her country, her culture, her language, in the custody of a man who, while financially successful, spends a lot of time on the road. So, fake marriage. And one of the things, I really liked this one too, and one of the things I really appreciated was getting into a lot more of the emotional side of the toll it would take on a person and their relationships to be in a fake marriage. Which a lot of books that have fake marriage, they don't really delve into that too much, and I think Emily Rath did a good job of delving into it in this book. So I enjoyed that one. I would say probably my favorite is Pucking Around. I just really enjoyed how the different relationships formed. Again, Pucking Sweet was the weakest of the 4, but I still liked it. So I'm looking forward to reading the 5th book. So I really liked it, and if any of this sounds appealing to you, I would recommend that you try it out, especially if you have Kindle Unlimited, because, yeah. And by the way, this one, the most recently published one, takes place about 6 years after this one. And you don't actually have to read the books in order, but I would suggest it because as the series progresses, you do see these characters again and again and again, so it's kind of helpful to know who they are. But I think you could probably skip them without too much Sturm and or Drang. Anyway, so yeah, I enjoyed those very much. I hope you found this video helpful or entertaining. If you did, please like, comment, share, subscribe, or don't. I am not the boss of you, and I hope you have a good night or day.